Your client's mental health is an important part of their work. When roles are hard to shake, it can lead to personal struggles and time away. Some productions are circumspect when working with difficult themes, but what should never be at risk is your client's mental stability when portraying dark and complex characters. It's a creative journey that requires incredible depth, unwavering authenticity, and a whole lot of resilience and trust. It's also a lonely and precarious journey because it surpasses the supports that exist in the industry. So it's no surprise that several studies have proven that traumatic story narratives can leave actors with emotional lingerings or imbalances that can have serious impact on their mental health if not managed well. And the industry has many stories of those who have not managed well. Enter the actor care specialist. That's me. I'm a hybrid with a background in psychotherapy, directing, and acting. My deep understanding of both the actor as a person and the actor in character led to the creation of a research-based model that has consistently proven to increase the actor's resilience and capacity to command their emotional range. Actor care sessions have helped actors around the world to give braver, layered, and more authentic performances, and most importantly, it reduces time away after a challenging role because it prioritizes mental health. It's a win-win-win for both you, your client, and the production. Suggesting actor care sessions to your client or requesting it from the production will help create a healthier environment for everyone. So on your client's next challenging role, help prioritize their well-being. Encourage them to learn more about bespoke actor care. Your actors will thank you.
Welcome to Coffee with Chris. I'm joined today by actor care specialist Alan Powell from the UK. Wow, I should talk first.
Well, it's
How
on
are you
everybody's
this
mind.
afternoon? Is that right? It's the afternoon for you?
It is. It's 2:10 right now.
Fabulous. Now, you're an actor care specialist. We've heard of acting coaches. We've heard of acting classes, helping with self-tapes and stuff like that. What is an actor care specialist?
Okay, it's new. I'm a hybrid.
Okay.
I am, well, I guess the best way to explain it is to say, I have a short video that I've just recently put out, and I have 6 years experience training as a psychotherapist. And before that, 20 odd years as a director doing educational narratives, drama narratives. I actually still am under contract with the Center for Research on Violence Against Women and Children. The Center for Research on and Education on Violence Against Women and Children. It's a long one, CREVAC for short. That's the Western University in London, Ontario. So when I left Canada, I still did the work for them, and I still do. So between the work as a director over the 20 odd years, 6 years training as psychotherapist, the plan was for me to come out of the psychotherapy training with tools to work with actors on a much deeper level than an acting coach can do or is qualified to do. Intimacy coordinators are amazing what they do, but again, they're not qualified to deal with the emotional content of what might be coming up for an actor when they're doing a character. And therapists nowadays, some productions are bringing therapists on board or on standby for actors or for crew who may get triggered by the content. And a lot of therapists, there are therapists that just don't understand the bridge between character development and the actual actor themselves, and how do you put those two together to create a character and still come out of it the other end. So therapists don't quite, there may be some that can do, but they're not hired to do that. They're hired to be a personal therapist. So if you're having trouble as an actor, then the therapist will help you. Whereas what I do is I bridge the what's happening for the actor and how that can help them with the character, how the two merge and how they can unmerge. I developed a model called ACEs, which is stands for Actualizing Characters by Expanding Self-Awareness. And there's 4 principles or cornerstones to this model. And the 4 cornerstones are resilience, boundaries, self-defense, defense management, which has to do with self-defense, and self-reflection. So we can go into more detail if you want about those, but I wrote an entire paper on the whole thing, spoke at conferences last year, brought it to light for lots of people, and there seems to be a lot of excitement around it, and actors love it.
So what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we, as actors, we're hired to play this part, and we have to get ourselves in there, get out of our head space or our head voice, get into the emotion, and somehow connect, Chris with the character. And what you're saying is that there's boundaries between, okay, you have to go play a murderer, a serial killer, a bad person, whatever the case may be. And a therapist will say, let me walk you through how that affects Chris when you're done. But what you're saying is that there's actually boundaries between the character and the actor, how those blend so that you're not taking it home. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's what I do. Am I sounding okay? Because I just realized my mic was off to the side and I could put it in front of me.
I hear you perfectly fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no issues on my end, but I appreciate the check.
Right. What I do is, if you, Chris, are a method actor, say, there's a lot of actors like to get into the character quite a bit. And they will draw on their own lives sometimes, which I'm not saying no, don't do it, but I don't actually enforce that. I don't. You don't have to get into. You don't have to dig into your own personal life to play out the trauma of a character. But to answer your question, should that happen where you end up enmeshed in some reality or non-reality that you feel is it's affecting you, the reality of the character is affecting your own reality, and you're taking it home with you, then yes, one of the cornerstones that I work with is boundaries. So basically it's like, how does the actor leave it on the stage or leave it on the set so that they can go home and then come back to it and still be able to access it when they need to. Because a lot of actors, I would put myself in that when I was an actor way back when. Once you hook into that emotion, sometimes you don't want to let it go because it's I got it now, I got it. So I would tend to take it with me and always remind myself, that I have to hold on to that, and that affects relationships outside of the theater or the film set. Whereas what I'm doing with actors with ACEs as an actor care specialist is I'm helping them access it and then put it away and then know how they can access it again quite easily. And it's actually empowering for the actor.
Now, when we look at Alan Powell and we look at the years of experience as a psychotherapist, a director, now we're teaching the new generation of actors out there today. And if we go to your site, actorcarespecialist.com, what can we expect?
That's not the site.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's what's it called? actor-care.com.
So if someone says, I want to dive into what Alan Powell is teaching, I want to get my feet wet, but I'm not ready as an actor to take on the full process of ACEs, are there weekend workshops? Are there one-on-one coaching that you provide to start that journey?
No, I don't. I tend not to work with beginners. I've thought about it, about how I could offer something to beginners. But what I'm offering at the moment is it's more advanced. So final year students at theater school, emerging mid-career Those are the ones who already know how to act. They know the process. They have a technique. I don't teach a technique on how to act. I teach a technique. Oh, sorry, my phone's buzzing. We're recording.
Oh,
I was
it's
going
all
to say,
good.
let me call you back.
Okay.
Okay, bye. All right. So I don't teach beginners only because they don't have a technique for acting yet. I mean, they're learning the technique. So once you've learned the technique and once you've done various roles and you start to understand what could happen to you potentially and how you can be triggered, that's when what I do becomes of value. Otherwise, I've been in Zoom rooms with younger actors, and they don't get it, and I think, oh yeah, I know what you're doing. Yeah, it's like, sure, yeah, whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, you don't get it yet. That's fine. Come back in a couple of years when you've experienced living through a death through a character, and then that triggered your own trauma of your parent dying or whoever, someone close to you dying, and then it takes you a while to shake that. So.
It's neat. I hate my own wording here, but when we look at trauma-based acting or method acting, and when Jared Leto took on Joker, we all heard the stories that he did with his team there, and then not taking it home, and then the Heath Ledger not able to disconnect and his reach out to Jack Nicholson at those times. And it seems like, hey, I want to take on this generation. I want to be helpful. I want to help you get these connections. But if you're too young, if you're not experienced in life, right, if you haven't had a parent pass or a grandparent or someone close to you, it becomes hard for the ACEs principle to really be beneficial because you just haven't had that experience. And not that everyone needs a specific trauma to trigger something, but to be a better actor, you really need to be open and listen. And if you're, a 17-year-old person being an actor, don't reach out to actor care specialist Alan Powell, because you just haven't had enough screen time, character development, or personal experience. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you don't have any training as an actor, then it would be a little more challenging. I mean, I could still do what I need to do. It's just that they don't have a technique yet. So I would basically be taking someone who has no technique and showing them a concept that may or may not make any sense to them. And I did say that I could do that. I could, but I would suggest maybe working with an acting coach as well, so that the coach is giving them technique, because I don't teach technique. What I do teach, well, I don't teach acting technique. I teach resilience techniques and empowerment techniques, which are different than breaking down a scene and saying, okay, well, what's happening in this unit, and what does the actor want, and how is he going to get that? That's a very different concept. So I'm happy to work with 17-year-olds, having given either, if they don't have the experience, then work with a coach as well. Or if 17-year-olds may very well. I had a lot of training when I was 17 as an actor, of taking all my part-time workshops and whatnot. So yeah, yeah.
So when we look at, I guess, this resilience training in these mechanisms, that comes from your time as a psychotherapist, saying, here's the blend between, you'll have to correct me here, the person and what we're asking for. It's, here's this connection, but it really draws from your directorial experience and your psychotherapist experience to say, how can we mesh these two? So when you're directing, do you ever find yourself reaching out saying, hey, let me coach or help this actor to get the performance that I'm looking for? Or do you leave that up to someone else on crew, I guess?
Well, since I've been doing actor care, I have not directed. And that's not by choice. I haven't been called back to Canada yet in about a year. But theoretically, if I were to go back and do and direct, I would be a director and not be the actor care specialist. Though, if I saw something happening with the actor, I would certainly bring up some tools, as an aside, and then but carry on with my job because I got to direct. It's two different. You can't take time out on a set to start doing actor care
Say,
while you're
hey,
directing.
let me switch hats here for a
Yeah,
half for
exactly.
an
Everybody
hour.
take half an hour, 30 minutes, whatever, an hour. Yeah, so no, I haven't done that yet. But I do certainly look forward to that day when that does happen, when it can happen, especially in the kind of work that I've been doing with trauma-based narratives back in Canada.
So what walk me through that? You're doing trauma-based narratives. For some of our listeners and viewers, we don't really know what that is. You know, we see action films, cartoon films, whatever the case is. What is trauma-based narrative?
Well, trauma-based narrative is any narrative that has to do with a trauma. And the work that I've been doing is educational. So, and it's been around woman abuse and elder abuse and dating violence, sexual violence. And what I've been doing over the last, I don't know, 16, 15, 17 years is creating scenarios that some are based on actual fact, true stories, where there is a survivor or a victim of abuse and the perpetrator. And we show what it looks like to a third party, what you're actually witnessing, and what you can do about it. So how you can support the victim, or how you can talk to the perpetrator, the person doing the violence, doing the harm is what I believe they call it now, and how you can signpost them to help. So yeah, that's the kind of work that I have been doing over the last, I guess, 17 years, maybe. I can't remember now.
And that kind of leads into this safe space, right? When you see somebody, it's as simple as some would say is if you see something, say something, but not necessarily the person might want you to say something. So when you're looking at this trauma-based narrative, creating these scenarios, what's one tool or one thing that you can say, hey, you're seeing something, you know it's wrong, you've approached the individual, they've said, I'm not ready. What is the best thing that we can do as a third party to help assist, be there? What can we do?
Well, the best thing to do is to say, totally fine. I understand you're not ready, but I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. Whenever you are ready.
So it doesn't, it's so neat that it's as simple as I'm here for you, right? We don't necessarily need to call anybody or report something. It's just a matter of saying, I'm here if you need me.
It depends on the environment that you're in. If you're a neighbor, that might be the best thing you can do. If you're hearing violence, loud noises or yelling and screaming continually, you might want to call the police out of concern. But there's other situations in there that, you might want to check in with your neighbor and see how things are going. And they may not want you to call the police. But again, it depends on the situation. It's very sticky. You want to do something to support them. You can make an anonymous call to the police. No one has to know who it was. If you're at work and your coworker is being, and you notice your coworker, the signs of the abuse, it could be phone calls hanging up and they always look upset after a phone call from their partner, or they're coming in late, or they're wearing clothes that aren't right for the season to cover up bruises, if they're wearing sunglasses. So those kinds of things, you can say something to the coworker and support. Same idea. I'm here if you want to report it, or you may have under an obligation at work. You may have you might be obligated to say something to your supervisor, and then they take it from there.
So where can people learn more about the trauma-based narrative that you're creating? Where can people get some resources? Where can you direct people to say, hey, if you're not sure, or if you see somebody in this, here's a great website link, something that they can go and read up on to kind of get more information?
So we're talking about what I do as an actor care specialist, or
Both, yeah. So where can we learn more about actor care specialist Alan Powell?
well, if you go to the actor-care.com, put that up on the screen too, yeah. Yeah, that'll take you right to my site, and it'll tell you everything about actor care, what it is, the philosophy, the cornerstones. You can read up on the cornerstones in more depth there. You can book a session, you can book a consult if you like. We can talk about no obligation consult. Just let me know what it is if you have a role that you're doing and you want some support around that. Happy to talk about how I might be able to help you. Yeah. And in terms of the see it, name it, check it, which is what the whatever you call that is, the logo, the motto. You can go to, I believe it is learningtoendabuse.org. I think it's .org or .ca. And it's a site out of Western University. Well, it's not actually Western University. It's the Center for Research site, which I'm not quite sure what that is. So you might have to cut this and figure it out some other way. But yeah, the work there has been incredibly important. That's why I don't mind speaking about it here, though I know we were talking about actor care specialists. I'm not going to say, oh no, we're not talking about woman abuse. There's opportunity, absolutely. Especially if I have words of support to say to others who are witnessing it. And it's a really interesting topic, what people are witnessing, because a lot of the times people who are witnessing abuse don't know it's abuse. And it could be because they're in their own abusive relationships. It could be a very mild, nonetheless, it's there. And you go, oh, well, that's nothing. That happens to me at home. And you go, yeah, it does. But this is on a different scale. And it's interesting that some people will look at the victim and blame them, say, well, he or she is not doing so-and-so, and that's why they're getting mad.
It's that old school relationship bank, right? Like, hey, I did the dishes for you, therefore you're doing this for me. And it's you didn't do that for your partner, and therefore you're kind of asking or accepting this abuse, if you will. Is that, loosely there?
Dynamic going on. It's a simple dynamic that you're looking at right there that can be quite complex, because sometimes you can walk into a household and police have experienced this and they don't know who's abusing who. In fact, they could be abusing each other, but it's because one, well, they started it, kind of thing, And anyway, it is quite complex. Well, we're not here to talk about that.
So when we go back, the actor care specialist, thank you for that. I'll definitely put that information up there. I do have two other questions for you. One is, when someone says the word community, what does that really mean to you? If someone said, hey, Alan, describe the word community, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I love the word community, and it's something that I have struggled to find and be part of for a very long time. And community to me is about support, people supporting each other. And sometimes community, it doesn't have to be something that is permanent. Communities can dissolve and then new communities are built. I have found myself moving from community to community through my entire life. And it's been more apparent that that's what I've been doing in the last, say, 8 years, maybe 10 years, especially my move from Canada to the UK. That was a community move, having to find community. So yeah, that to me, it's very important to have community. And that's what I want to do with actor care, is build the community of actors who care about their own self-care, who care about what they do, what they put out in the world, and how they put it out, um, and to sustainability tools so they continue to do it in a healthy way.
So if you could give a message to the world out there, something we have to stop doing tomorrow, if you could say, hey, everybody, we need to stop doing this and start doing that, or just stop this as a society, as a world, what would that one thing be?
Well, I don't know if I would say you need to stop doing something. I would say that, and we're starting to do this now. It says you need to start more or do more of taking care of yourself, being more mindful of your mental health. And mental health is a big word. And I know that there's stigma a few years back, and might still be, around what mental health is. But mental health is just, it's not your physical health, it's your mental health. That's all. It's just what you're thinking, how you're thinking it. It's things that have happened to us as young people, as older people, that have altered our thinking, that have set us into a mode of fight or flight or freeze, the trauma responses. So these things we need to become more aware of, become more aware of these responses, and realize that those responses are affecting your decisions every day. And when we talk about actors, those responses are affecting your decisions as actors. So we're making decisions for our characters that aren't necessarily the right decisions, because we're protecting ourselves as actors when we go into a role. So we're not really doing justice to the character.
Okay. And then my last question for you, and it's one that I love asking everybody: what makes Alan Powell smile?
That question. Many things. I just I can amuse myself. Yeah. And to be honest, what makes me smile is you asking me that question. The amusing things that people say, that people ask, that people do, the thing, and the amusing things that I do, things that make me laugh. Yeah. It's not just smile. I can laugh out loud. Damn it.
Wonderful. That's all the time I have for you today, Alan. I really appreciate you being here. Everybody have a fantastic day, and smile to inspire. Actor care specialist, Alan Powell. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Chris.